The years passed in Jamestown, and as I honed my skills as a blacksmith, I became an integral part of the growing community. Jamestown itself evolved, transforming from a struggling outpost into a bustling colonial town. Wooden shanties gave way to sturdier timber-framed houses, and the streets were lined with businesses catering to the needs of the burgeoning population. My friendship with James deepened, and we often talked about our dreams for the future. He had his sights set on owning his own blacksmith shop one day, while I harbored a secret ambition to become a landowner. The promise of land ownership was a beacon that had drawn many to the colonies, and I was determined to make it a reality. In 1712, after years of diligent work and saving, I made my first significant purchase, a plot of land on the outskirts of Jamestown. It was a modest piece of wilderness, but it held the promise of a future where I could build a home and cultivate the land. It was a dream come true, and I could hardly contain my excitement. With the help of James and a few other fellow settlers, we set to work clearing the land and constructing a humble cabin. The labor was grueling, but the sense of accomplishment that came with each swing of the axe was immeasurable. It was a place I could call my own, a sanctuary amidst the untamed wilderness. Life in the colonies was a constant dance with nature. We were subject to the whims of the weather, the challenges of farming, and the ever-present threat of disease. It was a harsh existence, but it was also one filled with moments of beauty and serenity. As I tended to my land, I marveled at the vastness of the American wilderness. The forests stretched on for miles, teeming with wildlife and secrets waiting to be discovered. The rivers and streams provided sustenance and a means of transportation, connecting us to distant settlements and opportunities. It was during one of my solitary explorations of the surrounding woods that I had an encounter that would change my life forever. I had ventured deeper into the forest than usual, drawn by the allure of uncharted territory. The rustling of leaves and the chorus of birdsong surrounded me as I followed a narrow game trail. As I rounded a bend, I came upon a clearing bathed in dappled sunlight. In the center of the clearing stood a magnificent oak tree, its ancient branches stretching toward the sky like the arms of a guardian sentinel. But what caught my eye was not the tree itself, but the sight of a young woman seated beneath its shade. She was unlike anyone I had ever seen before. Her skin was bronzed by the sun, and her long, ebony hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall of darkness. She wore a simple dress made from woven plant fibers, and her eyes, the color of the deepest forest, regarded me with a mixture of curiosity and caution. We stared at each other in silence for what felt like an eternity. I could see that she was unaccustomed to encountering strangers in her forest sanctuary, and I made every effort to convey that I meant no harm. Slowly, I extended my hand, offering a friendly gesture. To my surprise, she rose from her seated position and approached me with a cautious but curious demeanor. Our languages were different, and communication was limited to gestures and expressions. Nevertheless, a strange connection formed between us, as if the ancient oak tree itself had bridged the gap between our worlds. I learned that her name was Nani, and she was a member of the local Powhatan tribe. She had been gathering herbs and plants in the forest, and our chance encounter had brought our paths together. Over the weeks that followed, we continued to meet in that sacred clearing, learning to communicate through a shared language of gestures, expressions, and occasional broken words. Nani introduced me to the ways of her people, the art of herbal medicine, the secrets of the forest, and the deep spiritual connection they held with the land. She taught me to see the wilderness not as a daunting wilderness, but as a realm of endless wonder and mystery. Our friendship deepened into a bond that transcended language and culture. I marveled at Nani's resilience and wisdom, and she, in turn, was intrigued by my tales of life in the colonies. We shared our hopes, dreams, and fears by the shade of that ancient oak tree, and I found solace in her presence. As the seasons changed, Nani guided me through the rhythms of the natural world. She showed me the best times to plant crops, the healing properties of native plants, and the ways in which the land could provide for those who respected it. It was a knowledge that would prove invaluable in the years to come.